Advice versus advise. What is the difference between advice and advise? Advice is a noun, meaning an opinion, suggestion, or recommendation. Advise is the verb form, meaning to give someone an opinion, suggestion, or recommendation. For example, allow me to give you some advice. Travel as much as you can while you're still young. My father advised me to travel as much as I can. Can you give me some advice on which computer I should buy? Can you advise me on which computer I should buy? Spelling tricks and tips. We can remember the spelling and pronunciation differences like this. It's nice to give advice, but only let a wise person advise you. Forms of advise as a verb. Advise has inflected forms. The present tense advises, the past tense advised, and the present participle advising. For those in doubt on whether to use advise or advice when a verb is called for, remember that a verb expresses action and that the verb advise has an s as does express. Advise is also the word that follows please when expressing a request for guidance or information. Please advise is common without a direct object in the closing of a correspondence, but it typically takes one in other contexts, e.g., please advise me on how to proceed. Please be advised that we will be closing early. Advice has no other forms. Advice, on the other hand, only occurs in the plain form advice because it is a mass noun, which means it does not have a plural form, making advices incorrect. Only advise has an s suffix. Additionally, it is not used with the indefinite article in. If one can recall, when hesitation on which spelling to use strikes, that advise is a verb that expresses action, then by default they can confidently choose advice as the correct noun spelling. Advice can be modified by an adjective, good, bad, professional, unsolicited advice, and it is often found in the common collocations to give, offer, provide advice, to seek, ask for advice, and to follow advice. Tips for keeping them apart. We hope this primer on advise and advice is helpful in differentiating the verb advise from the noun advice. We leave you with one more tip for choosing the right spelling. Try the alphabet. The term noun comes before verb in the alphabet like the letter C comes before S and, in turn, alphabetically advice and noun come before advise and verb. Pointers aside, correct spelling ultimately comes down to memorizing advice as the noun and advise as the verb. That's the most sound advice.